All right, good evening, everyone. Start off by saying really pleased with the morale of our football team is extremely high right now as we wrapped up what was a bye week going into a weekend of non-play. Our team really came together during the bye week. I thought it was a time of reflection for our football team to look at the things that we had not done well and to correct those things. I think we did that to build our team with depth and youthfulness. I thought we did that. We then, of course, took the weekend off and came back on yesterday to now turn our attention to a very, very quality opponent in Alabama. And as we went out yesterday in this introduction of opponent, I thought our team really embraced mentally preparation for this team. It was a very good football team, and make no doubt about it. But I think we understand the challenges that are before us. I think our football team is eager to play in this game on Saturday against Alabama. We know what we're up against, and I think we'll have an opportunity to play our best football. That is the attitude in the building. I think it resonates from the coaches to the players, the support staff, where everyone's really excited about the opportunity to play again. And so as we turn to Alabama and you look at them as a team, Ty Simpson is as good as they come. You know, you look at someone who's 20-1 touchdown to interception ratio, an offense that goes as he goes, with quality receivers in Bernard and Williams, guys that can make plays, a quarterback that can throw the anticipatory throw into windows with good decision-making mindset, but also a guy who can run the ball when he need to. I think he can scramble, he can get yards when it needs to be, tough yards. And so I think that's a tremendous compliment for their football team. You know of Caden Proctor, the big offensive lineman who anchors their offensive line, that, you know, they do a good job in protection. They keep him clean. They run the ball efficient and do a good job there as well. And then when you look at them on defense, it's a typical Alabama defense. It starts up front. The interior guys, they're stout. They're knockback guys that play well from an interior standpoint. They have some steady guys on the edge that can pose problems for us and has posed problems for opponents. And they're good at the linebacker position. Skilled in the back end of secondary defenders that can make plays on the ball. But I like us. I really do. I like our football team. I think we're a talented football team. I think we have the potential to be a good football team. And I think Saturday night will give us an opportunity to put all those things together to play what is still yet our best football, which is ahead of us. So with that being said, I'd like to open up for any questions.
Hey, Frank,
Hey,
can you give us an update on Carius Kern, who left the game? Tyree Adams will still be out, I would assume, and maybe an update on Kern?
Yeah, so Tyree Adams is out. Carius Kern is questionable. He was here yesterday for the scouting report in the walkthrough of Alabama. He participated in it. We're hopeful. We're taking it day by day, but right now his status would be questionable. I'm not sure.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
How did your experience at McNeese as the head coach going through what you went through there? You had, COVID, 2 hurricanes. Yeah. How does that prepare you to lead men at a time where they need a leader?
You know, that's an interesting piece you asked there, Jock, because for me, my history has been a startup program. My history has been a probation, COVID, Hurricane Laura, Delta, freeze, flood, get the job in January, play a spring season, And so adversity, troubleshooting is something that we've done well. I think we're prepared for this moment. I'm prepared for this moment to lead our football team, to lead our university, and to a better place than what we're currently in right now. I think right now our team is improving. I think we're a better team today than we were last week, simply because the student athlete, the players have bought into the things that we are trying to accomplish. First of all, they've acknowledged this is what we have done, this is what we have not done. And I think that's the first step. Once you acknowledge it, then you allow yourself to be open to constructive criticism, both for us as a coaching staff and for student athlete. And now we can move on. I think we have identified those things as a staff and as a team, and we've made the necessary steps to better ourselves. And so I feel confident in my ability. I feel confident in our staff ability and want to better this team, and certainly our student athletes who are eager and chopping by the bit to be prepared to play their very best.
Hey, Frank Wilson here from the Advocate. Could you give just a full injury report, like what weeks, anybody else who might be dealing with something this week that y'all are going to have to monitor?
So Whit would be questionable as well. The two questionable guys will be Whit Weeks and Carius Kern. Then we have the Tyree Adams long-term guy, and who am I missing here? That's the only recent long-term guy, right? That's the only recent long-term guy.
What's the plan
and Gabe Relaford, of course. Who's
right. What's the plan for Whit this week? What's the hope? Is he going to practice tomorrow, today?
Yeah.
What's going to be that?
Yeah, we'll get him out there today and tomorrow. I'm sorry, we'll get him out there tomorrow to see what he can do and kind of measure it, and we'll build it as the week goes on based on his pain tolerance.
Hey, Frank, you talked about getting the coaches together and kind of looking, right, at what you do well, what you don't do well. I guess how were those conversations? How much, last week I think you talked about holistically getting everybody together on the same page, those kinds of things. How much of that was beneficial for the staff that maybe didn't have a voice before that gets to have a seat at the table now? Yeah,
we're all shareholders in this, right? We all have stock in this enterprise, if you will. And so I think it was healthy for our staff to give them feedback, to receive feedback. And we talk about it all the time. For me and for anyone else, LSU is bigger than one individual. And so to have the ability to give each individual the autonomy to speak on how can I help you be the best version of you in your room, on your side of the ball. What are the things necessary, offense, defense, and special teams that we have done or that we need to do? And I think it's good, it's healthy when they're able to express themselves and we address those things, because I think now the buy-in is that much greater for the good of the team. Certainly there is still discretion that need to be taken into consideration. But, it's not like we did everything wrong. We did some good things, and we're building on some other things that our coordinators, our position coach thinks are helpful for them to be able to get their group to play at their very best.
Frank, are y'all wanting to get Michael Van Buren more involved? And can you also talk about the reaction from your players by bringing in all the former players last week? How much did they take in that as a positive?
Yeah, I thought they received it extremely well. And it was an opportunity for our former players. What we'll do on Thursdays, we call it the huddle up. Former players will come back. They'll walk through these hallways and be able to say, hey, that's where Dad position meeting room, and oh, look, that's your grandfather on the 1982 team there. Let's go out to the practice field. I practiced here, and we want our former players just to know that you matter. We want them to know that you're invested and you've earned the right to be a part of what we're doing, and always will be a part of what we're doing. And so it was initially that. naturally, emotionally, I felt a need to allow them to give them a stage to say a few words. They said a few words to our team and the limited capacity, but more than anything, it was the interaction. It was the fellowship that they were able to do, tying old with new to make it present and make sense for our team. And so I thought it went extremely well for our student athletes. I thought it went extremely well for our alumni as well and former players. As far as the quarterback position, as I spoke about, Garrett is our starting quarterback. We do think that Michael brings some special things to the table that makes the defense have to defend him as well. And so we'll look at the opportunities that present itself to him for us. And when they present themselves, we'll take advantage of it.
Hey, Frank, Glenn West, 24/7. Just a couple, if I may. Just coming off the bye week, have any players announced any intentions to you guys about potentially opting out of this remainder of the schedule? Has that been any conversations that you guys have had?
That has not been any conversation.
Okay. And then just, going back to last week, you talked about wanting to run the ball a whole lot more, I guess, going forward. You work with Harlan Berry as closely as anybody. Just the growth that he's had over this last month. Can you speak to that and just what, that role is going to look like for him going forward?
I think one of the keys for victory for us is that we will have to be able to run the ball. I think it's something that you have to invest in, and you can't just talk about it and say you're going to do it. You got to do it, and I think it helps us from a passing game standpoint to be more effective. I think it helps in holistically complementing your defense as well. And I think we have talented backs that can do it. And so Harlem's growth has been one that's been continuous, ascending for our football team. But we had not made the total commitment to running it, whether it's Harlem, whether it's Caden, throughout the game. And when you look at as a unit, as a running back unit, when you run the ball less than 20 times, you make it challenging for yourself. And so we're going to try. We started off, I thought, in our last outing that we ran the ball effectively in the first half. Situation change, scenario change that, we kind of abandoned and went to the pass game. We're going to try to go into this game plan, into this game, intentional on running the ball effectively. And I think we'll be able to turn to both Harlem and Caden in that regard and sprinkle in some Jawan here and there as well so that we're able to run the ball effectively.
More coach questions for you. Just the workflow. Is Alex going to stay in the press box? How do you think that's going to work? Will you be on headsets? Will you have some decision making there?
Yeah. We're going to kind of stay the same. Tim Rattale go up. He had been down. And so that'll change for us. Everybody else will be in the capacity they were in or location where they're in during the game flow. I'll remain naturally on the sideline with game management as the priority during that time frame.
And then just the defense. What have your conversations with Blake been like? The defense has obviously struggled the last couple of games for a number of reasons, but just where is his mind at, I guess, throughout all this, and what are your conversations with him? Have they been like?
I think he is a very, very talented coach who wants to contribute, who want his side of the ball to excel. And here's what I've said to him: you don't have to do it by yourself. We're a team. We're three phases of a football team, and the things that we need to do to allow our defense to get its swagger back, let's do those things. Let's incorporate these things into a practice setting. One of the things for him was, Coach, I need to see physicality in an inside run drill, if you will. You got it. We're doing it tomorrow. All right, so we'll get a little roughed up, if you will, and play inside run offense against defense so that we're given the best sample size. It won't be a full-out scrimmage. We're not doing those things in season, but we're going to mix it up a little bit so we can see speed and physicality that when our defense sees it on Saturday, it's not shocking because of the look you've gotten all week has not been realistic. And so there's been portions of the practice schedule that he has asked for that we're going to give him to allow us to simulate a game situation best. But he's been fantastic. He's all in. The defensive staff is all in, and we're going to give them those things that they need defensively to get their swagger back.
Frank, you talked last week about this sort of being the kind of thing that you dreamed of. When did you maybe first in your life dreamed of being in this position as the head coach at LSU in some capacity? And is it something that you would like to give yourself a chance to maybe be considered for the full-time position?
Yeah. So, as my career path started, certainly I was in Knoxville before I came here, and old Charlie Baglio gave me a call and said that Coach Miles wanted to visit about consideration in coming back to LSU. And so the reality of it happened then. I had been at other schools outside of Louisiana, but it was then 2009 when I got that call. And so the reality of it hit at that time. And when I came in, he and I visit, Coach did, and we talked about what it meant to coach at LSU. And I shared with him all the reasons why I thought it was the ideal job for a person who was born and raised here. And then the reality of it happened, and it was overwhelming. It was humbling. I was excited to be here at that time. And then, of course, it catapulted me with a head coaching opportunity when I left and went to San Antonio. And so in coming back full circle, came back to help Coach Kelly rebuild, to get us back in our rightful place. And I remember him asking me, because I didn't tell him initially, yes, I'm coming back. And he said to me, you would consider staying at McNeese as the head coach instead of coming back to LSU. And I paused and I said, that's a big job. That's a big job. And I have to condition my mindset to get back in the weeds, to go compete at a very high level, because that guy in Tuscaloosa, that guy in Athens, Georgia, Coach, they'll rip your heart out. This was a conversation then. And so I just got to condition my mind, because the previous 5 years I had been a head coach, if I'm ready and willing to go do that yet again, because I know what it takes for that program to get back where we would like it to be. And so was up for it, still up for it, to get us back to our rightful place.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Harlem. You started recruiting him in the 8th grade, is that right?
Yeah, he was an 8th grader.
And what have some personal things about him that you've gotten to know as you've
So
he's grown?
his dad and I went to school together. His dad was in a band when I played football. His grandfather is a musician, so they're New Orleans jazz culture to the max. His mom is a member of Zulu and all this great stuff. She went to Warren Easton. And in the courtship of Harlem, a lot of it was rekindling, reminiscing with his parents, and then observing him from afar. And from his sophomore year, he was in the state track meet as a finalist, state champion, or runner-up in those years. But he was going to a school that was not necessarily a football mega, if you will, and at St. Martin's. And so everything you were doing was a projection. Now, you knew what he had done in NORD, which New Orleans Recreation Department, kind of like our BREC. You knew what type of player he was then, going against the best players in the city at that time. So even though he was going to a school that wasn't necessarily a football powerhouse, you saw the flashes, the body movement, the contact balance, all the things that you look for in a dynamic student athlete or football player. And then you saw it on the basketball court. Then you saw it on the track. And so we went all in. We went all in, and he continued to be dominant and at St. Martin, and it just took a little time. He's probably put on 18 to 20 pounds since he's gotten here, since January. And so he is, again, ascending the way that we thought he would be. And I think he's going to be an outstanding football player when it's all said and done.
And one more quick thing, is blocking the number one thing young running backs have to learn that keeps them in the game or gets them taken out of the game?
Yeah, well, playing without the ball, right? It's if you drew the analogy with basketball, there's some guys who are great shooters or scorers, but how do you play without the ball? Do you understand that pick and how to cut back door and how to jab up front and go back the other way? Do you play good defense? And so for the young player, when he does not have the ball, because they're all ball carriers, that's why you recruit them, but you're not going to always have the ball. And so what does that look like when a quarterback goes to his progression and you have enough awareness to get a great pre-snap read, post-snap reaction, to be in that spot and not in the backfield patting your feet, just looking around with no responsibility? You're already where you need to be. And what looks like a primary, you really are the check down, but it happens fast because of your football intellectual prowess. And so those things start to register. The things that don't get seen when it goes from run to pass, or the protection gets flipped and you were on one side and got to end up on the other side. Playing without the ball and putting yourself in position to be able to attribute to the play design that doesn't involve you having the ball. Just moving a backer or a safety, or catching the ball, or chipping, or blocking, that no one ever sees, that someone, you can get hit and it appears as though, man, the line should have got that. No, that's the backs guy. He got to scan all the way back to get that. And so it takes some time for that portion of the game. They're all natural runners. So to answer your question, the biggest transition is teaching them how to play without the ball and be effective and make a difference in the game.
One quick follow-up on left tackle. If with Carey is questionable, what would be the plan there?
We're working on it. We're working on exactly how that would look, whether that would be DJ Chester, whether that would be flopping Weston over. We have a couple of scenarios that we're looking at right now. Probably the most immediate thing would be is to put DJ Chester in at left tackle and do the things we need to do to allow him to play his very best.
And then I know last week you were asked about what the initial message to recruits were when you spoke last Tuesday. But how do you continue to build and finish a recruiting class when we're literally, it's 1 month today is the beginning of the early signing period with all the uncertainty? Yeah,
so for us, it's the 30-day countdown to signing day. It's funny you would ask that. And so we have a plan, a systematic plan in the responsibility of the primary recruiter, the coordinator, the head coach, and the support staff that will allow us to do that. For an example, tonight for me is to call the 27 class, right? For tomorrow, it's to call the 26 class. I've called all of them already. But then on tomorrow to call them yet again, at least 10 of them again. And then what will happen on Wednesday, we have our power hour where we pass the phone around. And that time is used for coaches, parents, and a student athlete we may have not gotten. The whole key is communication. And so to be able to speak on our behalf and not allow someone to speak on behalf of us is the most important part. When you're void, someone else steps in and say, hey, you hear what's going on at LSU? This is what I heard. Hey, this is what I know. And we tell our committed guys, you don't have to listen to that because you have a direct line to the source. And so we make ourselves available. We communicate effectively with both the student athlete, the parent, and the high school coach, which usually bodes well for us.
Hey, Coach, so Alex Atkins, he is in the press box for the game, right? Okay. And is he your closest thing to offensive coordinator, and why didn't you name an offensive coordinator?
Yeah, so he is the play caller for us. I think that in the capacity, he had served in the capacity of the run game coordinator. He will assume the capacity of the play caller in this. regard. I thought consistency and continuity was critical. I wanted to keep him with the tight ends so that he could still adhere to that, because you're dealing with 1 to 2 people opposed to moving to another capacity of allowing. And so for our coaches, you're the head coach of your position room. So Brad Davis is the head coach of the offensive line. Cortez is the head coach of the wide receivers, et cetera, et cetera. And I think when we take that approach, it allows him to call the plays without trying to do more than what's being asked of him, and allow us to be most efficient. Thank you, guys.